Hot stuff. Have you ever wondered if the income goals that you want are possible? When you look at what you want to make in a year, let's pretend you're like, I want to make 250 grand. Do you wonder if that's actually possible with the business that you have? That's what we're going to talk about today. Now, this episode has been inspired by a couple of clients that I've had recently. What I want to take you through is a bit of a process that I took my client through this week. We had her next one-to-one. She, with permission, has told me that I'm so fine to share, and that is my client Brooke from Wright Mode. So I work with Brooke in Business Bang. Lucky me, she loves me that much that she has signed up again for another 6 months. Now, at the start of every 6 months, we will do a strategy session where we talk about what your goals are and really about designing a plan for like your next 6 months or where we're going in business. And when Brooke had started with me, she told me her monthly goal and she's like, this is what I want to make. Do you think that that's possible? Now, if you're a service provider, yes. Even if you tell me that you want to make $100,000 a month as a service provider, 100%. Now, I will say the caveat is sometimes it is not going to be with the segment that you want, and the work will need to look a little bit different. But if you are selling services, this means that you are selling transformation, and there is always someone out there that is going to pay for the skills and the service and the transformation that you are providing. Now, what I did with my client Brooke is I got really clear on where she was and where she wanted to be. Still, I was like, are we still aligning with that goal? Are we still happy with that goal? And she was like, yes. Now, in the time that we have worked together, what we have really focused on is elevating her brand and getting her primed for scale. The woman is truly an expert. She is amazing. And I will say, if you do want to work with her before, who fucking knows, she'll probably end up consulting for Stephen Bartlett and like not even quadrupling her rates, but like 20xing them. So in Brooke's session, and really like our next focus is, in the first 6 months, what we did is we really elevated her brand. I said to her, and I think this is going to be something that if you are a service provider, you want to just, take note if you are maybe even moving into your consulting era. And this is something that I notice a lot with clients is they have been a really good doer. Maybe they were a virtual assistant, or maybe they were writing for someone, or they were doing something and they want to elevate into that next level. So they're stepping into their like advisory or consulting era. Now with Brooke is an expert. She works with the best of the best and she's incredible. And that was really the focus of what we wanted to do in our session. So when we looked at her income goal and I said, how are you tracking? And it's like, we're tracking, we're there. But what I then had done with her, I took stock of her offers. So let's just pretend that you're sitting in front of me and I'm going to take you through this process now. So let's pretend that you're like, I want to make $50,000 a month. Cool. Let's write that down on the paper, $50,000 a month. Then what we want to do, it's like, let's work this according to my goals process. So what is the goal? $50,000 a month. What is the next category? We look at our offers. So currently, what are you selling for that? So you may be like, well, I'm selling retainers. I've got 2 different retainers. Okay, sweet. What do they look like? This is the price. How many of those can you do a month realistically? You may be like, oh, okay, cool. Well, the goal is 50. I realistically can do like $10,000 a month in retainer clients. I can do 5 people pay me $2,000 a month. Okay, sweet. Then you're like, I've got projects. What we're doing here is we're really taking stock of like what you're selling. So we make a big list and then we get really clear on like, what's the capacity? So you may be like, okay, well, I run these these day training events and I can take 20 people. Okay, cool. How much is that going to be? We want to get really clear on it's like looking at us being full, where does that have us sitting? And this is something really good to check in on. If you are a service provider and you are selling, say, services like retainers and projects, this is where, if you are time tracking, this is amazing because you're going to be able to see how many hours you're actually working. What I want you to remember as well is it's like not all of your work is going to be spent on billable hours. So if you're doing client work, you don't want to spend a 38-hour week doing client work because when are you going to do admin, marketing, following up, sales, content? Like when is all of that happening? So you may want to stick with like 20 to 25 hours a week of billable hours and then having a nice 10 hours to spend running the business. So you need to get clear on like, where is your capacity and where are you capping out at? Now you could be like with your 50K a month goal, okay, sweet. I'm capping out at 25,000. So currently, the goal that you want cannot be made possible with how you're running your business. What we would do in this situation, we can do a couple things. This is where you'll hear people say, do a price increase. Sure, you could do a price increase. This is where you'll also hear people say, hire a virtual assistant and handball work to them. To which I'm going to say, if you hire a virtual assistant, you have now added another cost to your business. If your virtual assistant is $24,000 a year, you need to not only make that back, you need to double it or triple it. And you may find that you're actually now in the same spot. It's like you now need to make back $48,000 a year to make that hire worthwhile. And you're like, well, shit, I can't do that. Let me hire again. So you can see here how sometimes that's like not the best option. What I would say is if we're looking at your hourly rate, this is where we want to make sure that your offers firstly are profitable. This is you tracking the profitability of your offers and working out that every time you get a client, every time you show up and work, that your offers are deeply profitable. That is the first thing. It's also getting clear on like your energy expenditure and your time. And sometimes this is where a client can probably have more clients, but what's actually holding them back is they're not as boundaried as they could be. So they will go above and beyond in their retainers, and then that will prevent them from getting more clients. Or they're going above and beyond, and what's actually exhausting them is them thinking about the work and thinking about the clients and not being able to switch off. So what I would say here is this is where we want to be nice and boundaried around the work that we're doing. But let's just pretend that your offers are profitable, you are really boundaried, and you are now being like, I can't remember what I said. I think it was 25,000 we got you to, but the goal was 50. You're like, oh God, what am I going to have to do? I'm going to have to launch a course. You don't have to launch a course, but what you are going to have to do is look at the offers and the services that you are selling, and you are going to have to find a way to not only come up with $25,000 more, but you got to come up with more. Now, the reason I'm talking about even going past that initial goal that you had of 50,000 is if we look at you hitting your $50,000 goal, that is what I would call a good day's business model. A good day's business model is reliant on you having good days to make money. It is reliant on you being fully booked, clients paid, no refund, no one getting sick, you not getting sick, no one going on holidays, and everything being steady. And what I want you to look at is let's just reflect on your entire year and everyone that you know around you. And I want you to get honest with yourself of, has there been a steadiness and like a constant where every day and every week looks the same and there is that predictability? And right now you're like, no, of course not, because you're a human and you work with humans. So we need to remember that. And what we also need to remember is if we make a plan to make $50,000, we are relying on hitting the plan every single time. And it's kind of the same like doing a test and expecting to get 100%. Otherwise, we fail. And this is where the business plan is flawed. If our plan is to get a perfect result every time, is instead of us aiming for 50, what would it look like to aim for 55 or 60 or even $70,000? And that's now the new goal. Now, this is where sometimes clients may freak out because they're like, shit, I'm only at 25,000. We're not even doubling. We're more than doubling. How am I meant to get to that like $70,000 mark to know that I'm going to hit my $50,000 month? And this is where you got to do business differently. And this is where it gets fun. Why this is fun is because when we talk about making more money, this is where people will default to, I'll just sell a bit more and I'll work a bit more and I'll get a bit more organized. But if you want a business that is drastically different to the one that you have now, you need to do something drastically different. And what I spoke to my client Brooke about, when we looked at her business plan, for her having clients where she was pretty much like at capacity and she was going to fill every workshop. So you think about it, fill it perfectly every time. The problem was that was just taking us a ball hair away from her goal. Now, this is where people may be like, if you get an unskilled consultant, they'll be like, oh, we'll raise your price a little bit more and add another client. Then we're like $1,000 over the goal. And again, the problem is with that, for me, it's not enough. If you're at your capacity, you're at your capacity. And the problem is, you think about it this way, is it's like if you have made a plan and your plan relies on you being fully booked to get your goal, that's still a good day's business model, because fully booked also means that you are not accounting for time off and sick days and dips. Can you see where I'm coming from here? So what we had discussed with Brooke is we had talked about bringing in another offer to serve a different market. And maybe this is where you're at. So I want you to think about the clientele that you serve currently. Who are they? What do they do? Where are they at? What do they buy? And then what I want you to think about is, what would it look like to create a different offer, still in the realm of what I'm doing, but for a completely different market? What would that look like? What would it look like for you to enter your training era? What would it look like for you to, instead of your clients being people who are, working towards their 6-figure year, that you're going to create something in addition for people that are going to their $1 million year? Now, of course, there are caveats to this. It's like, the more that you elevate what you're doing, if you are selling services to other markets, you of course need to make sure that you can service these markets. So if you are like, okay, cool, I'll go work with people doing 7-figure business, like 7-figure business owners, or people that are doing like $1 million a month in revenue, you of course want to make sure that you have the skill set within you for you to sell an offer to these people. Where this is going to be incredible is when you can bring in an offer to service that market, it's naturally going to give you more authority within the market that you're currently selling to. And it also can almost like make the prices that you want to charge seem like a ball hair compared to what you are charging. So let's bring in some examples. You've got your 50K month goal that you originally had, that then I've said, let's actually make it 70. So we've got that 20 grand buffer. You are in marketing and you are selling retainers. We realize that we have a deficit and you don't really know what to do. So we want to come up with an offer. What would it look like for you to sell, I don't know, a $20,000 project? Now, what you want to remember when we're doing this is where sometimes we can get attached to the time frame. We get attached to, well, what are the deliverables going to be? What I want you to think about when you service other markets, especially as you move up like the business ladder and you are moving into people that are making, I don't know, 6 figures, not a year, but 6 figures a month, 6 figures a week, 6 figures a day. They usually don't care about how things look in terms of the deliverables. What they care about is the transformation and the result and how this relates to their business. Now you can see here, if we stick with that example, you've now got this new offer, which is $20,000, 2 of those a month. Amazing. And I know you could be like, shit, what could I sell for $20,000? Help me. Of course I can. Join Business Bang. But what's really cool about this is, imagine putting that up on your website. All of a sudden, your $2,000 a month retainers seem really reasonably priced, and you probably could boost them up a bit. Maybe you're like, let me create a process with my current clients, but I'm going to put on my website now that if you're a new client, you want to start, the retainers are now at $3,000 a month. And you think about it, if someone's looking at your website, they see this $20,000 offer, all of a sudden the $3,000 offer seems like a really, really good deal. Now, when we look at this as well, this is where, especially if you have been really smart and you have put your intellectual property into scalable offers. So this would look like if you were doing, I don't know, work for clients, and then you're like, let me create a course or a group program. This is exactly what I did with Give Good Email. I was basically doing the same work for all these clients, and I'm like, I'm going to go mad if I keep doing this. Let me put my genius into a course. Currently, it's probably not going to make sense profit-wise, but I feel like it's really scalable. If you do that, this is where you can package up the offers that you have and you can sell them to, and of course, you need to make sure that the offer that you are selling can service this market. But this is where it's like, well, what would it look like to create a bigger offer, so your 10K offer or your 20K offer, out of something already existing that you have? So a way to look at this could be with Give Good Email, is it's like, this would be perfect to package up for marketing teams. So in-house marketing teams where maybe they know email marketing, but they're not great at it, or they feel like that it's letting them down, or they've got the job because they're an absolute gun at meta ads, but they're not great at email. It's like, okay, cool. I could package this up and I could say, put your marketing team in Give Good Email. You can put up to 10 people, and it also includes an advisory session once a quarter, and that is $50,000 for the year. I know some of you may be like, that's a lot of money. Well, it depends who you're selling it to. You think about it, it's like if someone's making 10 grand a year, that's a lot of money and the offer's not for them. But for a marketing team that is doing $1 million a month and they have an email list that they're not leveraging properly, and if that helps them make $1 million a month into $1.5 million a month, that $50,000 a year investment is a fucking steal. Like, of course they're going to say yes to that. And this is where I'm going to say, if you're listening to this and you are like, this is breaking my brain, this is where having a good understanding of business is going to serve you well. And maybe this is your next stage of growth of what you need to learn. Because if you are currently like creating little offers, if you're creating offers and you're selling them to your existing audience, and you feel like that how you're going to grow is just sell a couple more and grow your Instagram following, that is one way to build a business. But if you are a service provider, if you are great at what you do, and you listen to this podcast, everyone who does is frankly a fucking legend. This is where what will actually grow your business even more, and where we can start to look at the bigger money, is by packaging up what you're doing and creating different offers to service that different market. And I think that is one of the smartest things that you can do. So this is what we spoke about with Brooke, and where we came up with this idea for her is we were on a coaching call. I was looking at her website and I saw something and I was like, this is golden. What would it look like for us to create an offer out of that? And we unpacked what it was. And I said, I think this is your offer. And I think this is like your 5-figure offer. And what was really cool is the people that wanted to work with her would feel like they were getting a really good deal, because they get to work with a person that gets to work with these huge people, and they're only paying a fraction of the price compared to what she's selling. This is also where, of course, you want to make sure that you actually know what you're doing. This is a huge thing, all right? We don't need more people in business who are not that great. What I want to say is spend time developing your body of work. Know that you are good. And again, you will be good. So the next thing is you have to believe that you're good, and you have to believe that you're worthy. A really good way to think about this is I want you to think about all the people that you look up into in business. Everyone. So think about the podcasts you listen to. Think about like the books that you have. Could you hold your own at a table with them? And you want to get to a point where you can, and these are the people that you are designing offers for. Because let me tell you, when I started to do this in business, and when I thought about everyone that I looked up to, and I was like, hold on, why the fuck am I idolizing these people? I know I could hold my own at a table with them. What would it look like to sell an offer to them? And that is a really powerful thing that you can do. What would it look like to have, oh my God, don't you love how you try to think of a brand and you're like, I've forgotten everyone. Like Kukai as a client, or Mecca as a client, or I don't know, Daniel Priestley, Alex Hormozy, like all of these people. What would you sell them, right? If they came to you and they've got, hey, we've got some budget for $20,000, what would you pitch us? What could you do? What change could you do? This is really fun to think about, because you will realize the limitations that you've put on yourself with your current business, how you're trying to put yourself in a box and just like get more people in by doing some more fucking reels. And obviously there are so many ways to build a business, right? There are so many ways to build a business. You can have a low-cost, high-volume model. You can sell courses, you can sell programs, you can do whatever you want. But do you know what I really love? I love the idea of having a few things within my offer suite that are at that higher price point where I don't need to shift that many in order to make really good money, okay? Like let's just go back to this $20,000 offer for a second. You only need to sell 10 of them to make 200 grand in a year. Do you think that in a whole year you could sell 10 of something with the belief, with the effort, with how you show up, with a good campaign? Of course you can. Why the fuck can't you? And this is where I'm going to say, if you can't, great. That is your mission then for the next week. Get so fucking good. Learn everything that you can. Double down. Get better. Do the work so that you can do that. Because for me, I would rather make 200 grand selling 10 things than make 200 grand from a $35 offer. I don't want to deal with all those clients. I don't want all that admin. I don't want all those bookkeeping fees. I would rather have energy knowing that that energy is going to 10 clients and not what feels like the whole of Australia. This is where if you do feel like that your income, like you are not going to hit that income goal, what I'm going to say is don't make it up with small, tiny little rocks. Don't create a $10 offer. I want you to think bigger. And currently, what for you is high ticket, what would it look like for that to be your mid tier? You know, I even said the other day when I was talking to someone about Give Good Email, how Give Good Email was my low ticket offer, and I had to crack up laughing because for me, I feel like I've now elevated into this next stage of entrepreneurship with the offers that I see myself creating, that now GGE for me is low ticket. And let me say, this feels really good. And the reason it also feels good is because now I feel so at ease with this, like the price of it. I'm going to show up to launch differently. And now I get to go on the journey. Oh my God, the J word. I can't believe I said that, of selling these like bigger ticket items. How fun is that? So I guess that's like a little masterclass on how you can check to see if the income goals that you want can happen and what to kind of do to elevate yourself. So I guess to recap, if I can remember even what I've said, because trust me, this has been a complete stream of consciousness. No notes present, nothing. I'm just looking at myself on the screen here. Is when you think about the goal that you want in business, firstly, you want to remember the goal. Then you want to take stock of what you're selling. And you want to do what I like to call like possibility math. Or you want to do the math to make sure where it's like, okay, cool. If I want to make 50 grand a month, what am I selling? What would $50,000 look like made up of those offers? And can I get there without feeling like that I need to work a 100-hour week or hire a team of 15 people? And if the answer is no, then you need to get clear on it's like, well, what is your bad days business model? Knowing that not every launch is going to be booked out, like you're going to have refund requests or stuff is going to happen. It's inevitable. That's life. Projects get pushed. You know, you could have a project and you thought it was going to be a month and then you get sick and then the client gets sick and all of a sudden that's 2 months. And then that's going to affect how much work you can take later down the track. So remember that bad days business model. And then this is where we get clear on that deficit. And remembering as well, with a bad days business model, we want to aim past the goal. So maybe for you, this is adding 10% or 20%. That's what I would aim for, at least. Start there. And then what I would do is I would look at, well, what within my offer suite can I package up? Can I package up something and sell that a bit more at scale? So can I sell it to marketing teams? Can I license this to other people? Like, can I get really smart with that? Or can I sell a service that I am selling to a different segment? What would that look like? And I also want to say here, if you're like, oh, this sounds really fucking good, I love this, but I don't know what to do next, work with me. I would say this is probably one of my favorite things to do in business. So I love this. I love you. And your homework is to 1, get clear on your goal. 2, take stock of what you're selling. 3, see realistically in a realistic month where your capacity is and how much money you can make. And then what you're going to do is you are going to look at how can I package up an offer so I can sell more of it. So instead of selling 1, I'm selling 20 at a time to a group of people. Or I'm going to create an offer and I'm going to sell it for a different segment. I know that I am an expert. I am great. Like, I change the world. I have proven results. Everyone gets ROI. Cool. Sell to people that have more money. Move up a segment and then move up again. What would it look like to target those people? If you're stuck, work with me. If you feel excited, work with me. Basically, the call to action is work with me. Hot stuff. I love this. I love you. I'm in my current little staycation. I did not expect to be as productive as I was when I checked in. I think this is my 3rd podcast episode, and I'm creating a couple of like little videos for Business Bang. I may end up re-recording them tomorrow, but I recorded 2. So I've done 5 videos today. It's 10:30 at night. I feel like I'm done. I feel like this is, you know what, this has been good. I was not going to do anything tonight. I was going to do it tomorrow. So I love that I've gotten this out. I love you more than, oh my God, you know what I love you more than? I'm about to have a nice hot shower. I need to do my bathroom renovation. It is just awful. It's so bad. I think I found a builder, but I need to get some money. So I have set myself like a really big stretch, impossible goal for the end of the year that if I hit it or when I hit it, do I think I can hit it? Oh shit. I think if I do, I will be stunned with myself. Like, I don't doubt that I can do it, but I don't know if I have the amount of people needed for this. It's really that. Like, I know that I can sell, but I kind of feel like that I should have been doing even more lead generation and audience building than I have been, but that's okay. But it feels good. I like to have like a bit of a mission and a challenge that I'm working towards. So I love you more than that. I love you more than the enthusiasm of this builder. He's very enthusiastic. As I said, I don't know what's happening because there's a few moving parts. I'm going to have to like refinance. And I actually don't even know what I want to do with my bathroom. I haven't picked tiles. So I love you more than the fact that I have to pull my finger out and actually make some decisions. Even if this doesn't happen, you know, at least then I'm going to know these are the tiles. This is what it's going to look like. So I love you more than that. I love you more than my past self. So I'm in my fitness era. I made a decision where I wanted to lose like, oh my gosh. And I'm just remember, I'm quite tall. I wanted to lose no. I wanted to lose like 25 to 30 kilos, which I know sounds like a lot, but do you know, fun fact, that's what I put on since I moved to Melbourne. I'm very tall, so I wear it very, very well, but I don't know if I'm going to lose that much because I think that I've actually put on a lot more muscle. So the goal is to like lose 20 and then assess and see. I am feeling really good. I am walking every day. So I got my treadmill. I walk on my treadmill. I'm not actually tracking anything. So you know how people like, I'm going to track my protein. I'm going to do that. Right now, I'll do that later. But right now, I'm just like, eat protein, have breakfast, you know, be conscious of like the options you're choosing and just be conscious of your snacking. They're basically the requirements that I've set to myself. And I'm feeling really good. I took some like little sneaky, what are they called? Like little, they're not even sneaky. It's so fucking obvious. But I have my camera on like 0.5 zoom and I'm walking up the street, like just taking some content for B-roll. And I was looking at my jawline and I'm like, the jawline's looking good. Like I feel like I've lost some weight. So I love that. It's interesting declaring this because people assume that when you want to lose weight that you hate how you look. And I'm like, I'm always going to be hot. I'm a hot person. I've got a hot aura. But, you know, for me, I want to fit back into my clothes and I really want to take control of my health. Hot stuff. I love this. I love you. And I'll see you on the next episode. Mwah.